What is up, ineffable being? How are you doing today? Hope you're having an amazing, wonderful, magical day. I want to tell you that you are a genius. You are special. You mean the world and you are loved. Today's topic is the key to life. We're going to discuss the key to life, and I want to ask you, what do you think is the key to life? What is something that's very fundamental? If you can write a list, a short list, if not just one thing, that is fundamental, that's going to, as long as you have X, Y, or Z, you're going to be able to have a pretty good, pretty great, happy life. And I'm sure, like many of us, you're out there in the world, you're conscious now, you're an adult, you're out of high school, you're into college and or even still in high school, but you're starting to think for yourself, right? You're starting to be like, wow, I can be conscious and maybe I want to consciously take charge of this instrument that we call the brain and you're starting to build a belief system. You're starting to see, what am I going to do with this life, with this body that I have? And you maybe you're looking to have more money or more time to spend with your loved ones. Your relationships, you want better, more fruitful, loving relationships and friendships. And perhaps you want a better body, you want to trim down the love handles and get the buttocks a little better. And perhaps you're looking for a soulmate. Perhaps you're looking for real love and you're walking that journey and you're doing the necessary things to accomplish what you want. And oftentimes, isn't it easy if we could just have like the key to life? We could just have this key and tie it around my neck and any situation I have, well, I have this key and I'm going to walk through every situation, every door, and I'm going to unlock it with this one key. Well, I want to tell you that you're not alone in this journey. I believe that great many of us are. If you're alive in this time of day and you know you whether you live in the eastern or the western hemisphere of the globe or wherever you are, um, you know you're moving along and you're finding your way as many of us are. And I wish maybe like you that I could just have snap my fingers and make something happen or snap my finger and fix any problem. So along my journey, I started boiling it down. What am I? What is this body that we call a human being? Like, what am I really? What am I really was a question that I had to ask myself. And I started continuing my journey. I was like, wow, so I have a brain and I can use it, or I can just always just be listening to it. And moving forward, I dive deep into it. So what are the different ways I can use the brain? Like, I can use it like I use my mouth. I can create numbers and I can create little hums and I can create words in my brain. And oh, but the brain is a little bit different because you can paint, right? You can have imagination using the brain. So I dived into the brain and to my intelligence, and I just wanted to understand it, right? I mean, it's an instrument, right? If you want to drive somewhere, if you want to get your girlfriends, your boyfriends, the party to work, well, what are you gonna do? You're probably gonna have to use something, right? And luckily we're not on horseback anymore, so there's either public transportation or there's Uber, Lyft, and there's also your own vehicle. So that's an instrument to take you where you want to go. And I decided to accept my brain and my heart, which is an instrument far greater than the brain, as what they are, as instruments. But I said, well, to hammer a nail, you have to hammer. To cook, you literally have to cook, turn on the stove, there's action behind it. To drive is to drive, where there's action with my body. There is some type of action that I am creating to do a lot of these activities. So I decided for myself to think means to think. And to think is conscious internal action. And when I just started unraveling this mystery of what the brain is and what the heart is, really, I started dissecting it, and I wanted to build a very simple way that, regardless of what life presents to me, I can combat it. Whatever obstacle or goal that I accomplish, I'm going to have a solid foundation. So I want to share with you my key to life, right? And it's found a lot of many places. Some of us call it the secret, the law of attraction. Some of us call it karma. We can call it, very different many names. Spirit, the unified quantum field. But let's get into it. The first and foremost is a emotional foundation, a conscious emotional foundation. Why is this so important? It sounds so funny, right? Well, this thing is, let's look at what makes you happy or what makes you upset. Many of us, I've asked this question many of times with, the master classes that I do in my ineffable family for new participants. And so I asked them, well, what is the possibility of you being happy 100% of the day? And that idea doesn't really exist in people because, I always get, well, Lewis, I wake up and, I feel pretty good. But then I stub my toe, so now, I'm kind of like going down that road. And, finally I'm having my tea or my coffee, so I'm happy again, and then I get to work, and well, there's an accident, so now this traffic starts creating stress hormones, and then I get to work, and some people are good that don't push my emotional buttons, but then there are also other people that continuously, day in and day out, push my emotional buttons. So that's not really a thing. Like, it's happiness isn't really like an idea or a reality for most of us. For most of us, it's the external environment dictating how we feel, right? So if my life is happening how I want, I'm going to say, well, I'm happy. If it's not, then I'll probably either be honest and say, well, today's a rough day and it wasn't really good. And hopefully tomorrow, or I can lie and just try to put up a face, right? Become a clown and say, yeah, today was great. So the emotional foundation is so important because a conscious emotional foundation is what's going to get you up in the day, is what's going to get you to go apply for 10 jobs versus just 5. The emotional foundation that you carry is the reason you speak to your boss about your idea or you don't. The emotional foundation you have is the reason you speak to the boy you like or the girl you like. So emotional foundation is key. And the second thing is having your mind set. What do I mean by your mind? Well, your mind, let's think about your mind as a mansion of 100 rooms, okay? And quickly, let me digress. The end result of an experience in your world is an emotion. And every experience with every person, every situation, everything, every place creates a neurological network in your brain. So let's go back to the mind. So the mind is a mansion of 100 rooms, and this room, we'll call it love, hate, sorrow, anxiety, depression, goals, dreams, and so forth, right? That is what the mind is. So throughout different parts of the day, depending on your action and what you're doing, you're going to be in different portion of the mind, in a different room in this grand mansion. So let's remember, for the most great many of us, it's our external environment dictating in what room I am in at any certain point of the day. So having your mind set is a couple things, but one, it is consciously directing where you put your attention. That is what I call, having your mindset. If it's a goal, if it's a dream, if it's a short term or long term, it could be, financial. How much money do you want under your mattress or in your bank account? What is the weight you want to lose? But creating this consciously where it's not your unconscious thought telling you, hey, well, why don't you, you failed at a writer, why don't you open up a coffee shop down the street? Well, unconscious thought, it's like smoking mirror, right? You didn't create it, you spent no energy. Just because you're alive, you have unconscious thoughts that come to you and they're audible. So as easy as they're presented to you, that's as easy as they will be to change, right? So if you're following your unconscious for most of your life, then, well, it's like you're going to go take 2 steps in 100 directions. Well, really, where did you get in the end of the day? So having your mindset is very fundamental. Being able to direct your attention in your mind is going to be very fundamental. And the last thing, as I'm going to share with you, is physical your physical body. You have to get physical. So let's digress again. Okay, let's trace our steps. So we have the emotional foundation, right? This is the reason I get up in the morning. I'm happy. So whenever we're happy, we're gonna do everything we have to do. Versus whenever I'm not, I'm sluggish and I'm kind of like this, and chances are I'm not going to go do the things I have to do because I'm tired, right? And beyond that, we have the mindset. So I have the emotional foundation, which is the cushion, the trampoline to take me where my mind is. So, well, What, am I just going to meditate? Am I going to visualize everything? Am I just going to like affirm day in and day out? Well, no. I mean, yes, but we also have to complement it with action. We have to get behind the emotion. We have to get behind the mindset. But once you have, just granted, once you have the emotion and your mindset, it's a lot easier to go and do the physical things you need to do. If it's lose weight, you feel good right now in the present moment because you're consciously creating your emotional state. So it's no longer like, oh, I don't feel good, I'm not going to go lose weight, I'm not going to go to the gym. No, you feel good and your mind is set. So now the last thing is just to reciprocate yourself, that internal world that you're creating in your physical world. So if it's money you want, right? Well, maybe present the idea, don't just rehearse it in your room by yourself in your mind. Feel happy about it. Don't just emotionally charge yourself up with the idea of that you want of your future. No, you have to go and just start creating it. But let's remember, in the past, my mind wasn't set because my external world was directing what room of my mind I was living through. And then I had no emotional foundation, or I was definitely not conscious of it. So if it's a job that I want or a promotion and I apply for the job, 10 times for this position 10 times, well, that's going to cause a neurological network in your brain. So you're going to feel discouraged, you're going to feel unworthy, and you're not going to keep trying. You're not going to better how your approach at getting this job. So the first thing, again, the emotional conscious foundation. So you can jump out and be ready to attack your day. Then set your mind, be clear, direct your attention as to where you want to go, and then you just got to fall through, right? We see Kobe, we've seen him, he was a legend. We've seen Steph Curry, whenever they shoot those 3-pointers, they follow through, right? You leave your hand hanging out there until you complete what you got to do. Whenever you're fishing, right, you're patient, you're waiting for that, but you don't put the fishing pole down, at least not many of us, go get a beer and come back. No, you are every single day, your attention, you're moving in that direction. And lastly, I like to share with you my definition of success. And this doesn't come from me. It comes from Bob Proctor, and it doesn't even come from him. It goes beyond him from Earl Nightingale. So the definition of success that I accept is having a worthy ideal and progressively moving in that direction. I hope you've enjoyed this video, Ineffable Being. Please put down in the comments, what are the keys to life? What is the keys to complete the dream, the goals, the desires that you have? And also comment, what topics would you like for me to cover in the future? Please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. I hope to see you on the side of the light. Goodbye.